There's a blueprint to beat the Buckeyes, and their former defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, is now at Penn State, and he knows the secret code. Could that be enough to get Penn State over the hump against Ohio State? It could be. Locked On Big Ten starts right now.
You are Locked On Big Ten, your daily podcast on the Big Ten Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman, 40 years as a sports talk show host and play-by-play announcer, and I want to thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode as we go into the season here. Also, share, like, and follow. All right, today, the blueprint to beat the Buckeyes, the defending national champs. We have the latest news, some stadium news, and recruiting news all coming up, plus our Tuesday tweets. Now, we could talk all day long about how USC has the number one recruiting class, or how I think Oregon had the best acquisitions in the transfer portal with guys like Dylan Thieneman from Purdue and, of course, Isaiah World from Nevada. But the most significant acquisition in the Big Ten in the offseason was probably Penn State luring the defensive coordinator Jim Knowles from Ohio State and the national championship staff. Now, Knowles is widely regarded as the best defensive coordinator in the country, and he's now the highest paid defensive coordinator in the country at $3 million a year. You know, it wasn't too long ago that the average head coach made $3 million a year. Now we're paying high-end coordinators that kind of money. Even Ryan Day said that Knowles was the best defensive coordinator in the country right before both sides parted ways minutes after the national championship. But the fact that Penn State grabbed Knowles from one of the select few teams that they can never beat, and one of the teams will be the biggest obstacle for them in the 2025 season, that is very significant. Very. Now, since Knowles was on the Buckeye staff just 6 months ago, that means that he knows the Buckeyes personnel and their system and their schemes, as well as anybody not currently residing in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. Right. So anybody that's there, all right, they got their stuff down. But anybody that's out, it's Jim Knowles. He knows more than anybody. And look, sure, there's some changes at Ohio State. They have a new offensive coordinator. Wide receiver coach Brian Hartline was promoted to offensive coordinator to replace Chip Kelly. And look, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Head coach Ryan Day, he's not going to change his offense that much. Look, in fact, up until 2 seasons ago, Ryan Day was the offensive coordinator. They got their system in place. They like to run the ball, but they got some nice wide receivers. Always got some nice wide receivers. The defensive side of the ball, they brought in Matt Patricia. He takes over for Knowles. So, look, maybe there'll be a new wrinkle or two. And Ohio State does have to replace 8 starters on defense. So there'll be some newness there that maybe Knowles won't be as familiar with. But overall, I think there's going to be a lot of stuff there left over from the Knowles defense. And every year, Ohio State and Penn State, they're elite. They're among the best, not just the Big Ten in the country. So one immediate benefit for Penn State is now they won't have to go up against a Knowles defense when they play Ohio State. The last 2 years, Penn State has done nothing against Ohio State. In fact, the offense has just scored 15 points and 1 offensive touchdown against the Buckeyes in the last 2 years. Knowles and the Buckeyes defense, when he was over there, they had DREW ALLAR, quarterback, just tied up, had them all figured out, knew exactly what to do. He only completed 48% of his passes against them over the past couple of years. So now Knowles comes to Penn State, and he has already sat down with DREW ALLAR in a film session with last year's game, and right to his face explained everything they were doing to Allar. All right, on this play, we did this formation because you have a weakness here, and we forced you into that. 3 hours of that. Flat out gave Allar everything. Just the whole scouting report on him. DREW ALLAR said that deep down inside, he knew what his weaknesses were, but he says that Knowles confirmed it. Now he's seen what an opponent tried to do to him every single play. And so now he's working on turning his weaknesses into strengths. 1 year before he's going to go to the NFL. This is great timing for him and his career. Another benefit for Aller, he says he's looking forward to going up against Knowles' defense in practice every day. It's going to make him better. Penn State's defense, as well as Ohio State's defense. Again, as I said, elite every single year. But this year's defensive squad could be a special unit there at Penn State, and that's only going to get Aller ready to face Ohio State and anybody else that's in their way. Oregon, getting Aller ready for the NFL, all that stuff. By the way, Knowles did the same thing with James Franklin. Sat down with him, showed him the film. Here's the offense. As an opponent, here's what we did to you, James Franklin. Here's why we did this to you, James Franklin. This is why we had success against you. It was very eye-opening to have a coach from one of your rivals who gives you a hard time come in and tell you how and why they beat you and what you need to do to fix it. That right there is worth $3 million, right? So he's like a human manual on how to beat Ohio State now, because now he can reverse it. All right, here's what they're going to do. Here's how we stop it. It can make all the difference in the world. Now, Penn State's won a lot of ball games over the years, especially over the last decade with James Franklin. But the Nittany Lions have been woeful against top 10 teams, including Ohio State. And, Franklin wears that I can't win the big one hat. He does. There's no way around it. So their biggest games of the regular season are against the defending Big Ten champ, Oregon Ducks. That's week 5. They play the Buckeyes in week 10, and they immediately turn around and play the Indiana Hoosiers the following week in week 11. Franklin knows that people are talking about him and all this pressure that's put on him. And they're talking about the Penn State team. And he knows that his football team is under a lot of pressure because it's pressure to win it all. It's not just pressure to go 10-2 again. Check that box. Penn State could do that in their sleep. It's the other two that always trip them up. Or now getting, now that they got into the playoffs last year, punching through, getting to that championship game. And that's a pretty tall task because in reality, there's only one team that can win it all. And there's only 3 active coaches in all of college football who have ever won a national championship. Dabo Swinney at Clemson, Kirby Smart at Georgia, and now Ohio State's Ryan Day. But Franklin says that his team has earned the right to be talked about, to be hyped up, to have pressure on them. And he says they talk about that stuff inside their own walls all the time anyway. Those are always the expectations. They haven't met them yet, but those are the expectations. He embraces the pressure. He embraces the pressure to win it all. At least that's what he said last week at Big Ten Media Days. And while they talk about winning it all, last year's team got pretty close. Like they lost to the championship runner-up Notre Dame by 3 points in the college football playoff semifinal. That close. And this year's team, which returns the most experienced quarterback in the country among a ton of seasoned veterans. Look, last year and this year, James Franklin's best chance to grab a national title. Now, they didn't do it last year. They got close. Didn't quite do it. Got an even better chance this year of doing it. And that way he could drop this rep of failing to win a big game. And by the way, his new defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, may be his not-so-secret weapon that'll help him get over the hump. Penn State hosts Nevada on August 30th. That is right around the corner, 3:30 at Beaver Stadium. And they got FIU and Villanova that will follow. So they should be 3-0 going into their first big game of the season, hosting their Big Ten opener against Oregon. That'll be the 7:30 whiteout game on NBC. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you're an everydayer here, that we go live after big games here with a live version of Locked On Big Ten. We're going to go live after that one. You can be sure of that. Can't wait. Penn State fan, Ohio State fan, let's hear from you. Hit me up on the comments. And be sure to hit that free subscribe button down below. That way you'll never miss a single episode, and you can share, follow, and like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. Don't forget to go to our website, talkbig10.com, where we not only have all of our podcasts archived, go back and check out another one for a second listen, but we also have links to where you can get merchandise from your favorite Big Ten school just in time for the 2025 season. Get some shirts or hats or pennants, all that kind of stuff. We've got the latest news. By the way, a lot of players have been talking about the loudest, craziest stadiums they've ever played in. We'll bounce around. There's some obvious ones around the Big Ten, but one Big Ten basement dweller will surprise you. It surprised me. Got the latest recruiting news as well, plus Tuesday tweets. It's all coming up in a minute right here on Locked On Big Ten. 5 hour energy. 5 hour energy. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5 hour energy transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink. We've all had one of those on the golf course, right? Except minus the alcohol. It's now a quick, energizing shot from 5 hour energy. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole in one for your energy game. So let's be honest, some days out on the course, on or off, really, you need that extra boost of energy to stay sharp and energized. Maybe you're having a crazy day, maybe like hooking one off of a roof and then it bounces right onto the green. It happens. Crazy days, lots of great memories, good times, and good flavors, of course. The grape ginger lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse and your go-to without chasing down the beverage cart. Just have 5 hour energy with you right there. It's all good to go. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, it's the number 5, 5hourenergy.com, and you could use my promo code. It's Locked On Golf. Locked On Golf to receive 20% off your order. This order is only valid until September 30th, and on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get a little boost of energy, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion flavored 5 hour energy shots today at 5 hour energy. All right, thanks for making Locked On Big Ten your first listen each and every day. And, of course, you everydayers out there that make us go, thank you. Be sure to hit that free subscribe button and share, follow, like Locked On Big Ten, your team every day. And check out our website, talkbig10.com. All right, let's talk about stadiums. It's one of these fun topics. And a lot of players were asked about it. I noticed at Big Ten Media Days, hey, what's the loudest, craziest stadium you've ever played in? Or, hey, you're going to play at XYZ Stadium this year. That's crazy, right? A lot of predictable answers in there. Ohio State rising sophomore wide receiver Jeremiah Smith, he said that he thought it was Oregon's Autzen Stadium. A lot of people say that. Even though it's half the size of the Buckeyes Ohio Stadium, the noise from that crowd just rains down right on you in the field. Everybody says it's the loudest place in the Big Ten. It seats about 50,000, 54,000. That answer should surprise nobody. It's like that every week, not just against big teams like Ohio State. There was Iowa's stellar offensive lineman Logan Jones. He said his favorite road venue to play in is Nebraska's Memorial Stadium. He said he also likes it when they kick field goals there too. We should note that 2 of the last 3 Hawkeyes victories there have come on last-second game-winning field goals. That's why I mentioned it. By the way, Iowa and Nebraska close out the season at Nebraska on Black Friday. Now, Oregon tight end Kenyon Sadiq, he was asked to name one of the toughest venues that he's ever played in, and he didn't hesitate, and his answer surprised me and probably everybody else. He said Purdue's Ross-Ade Stadium. He said specifically if it's a night game, not Ohio Stadium, Beaver Stadium, Michigan Stadium, not Wisconsin's Camp Randall, Purdue. The Ducks play there, you remember, on a Friday night last season, mid-October. They won the game pretty easily, 35-0. And even though the crowd was on the losing side, they were pretty amped up in that 35. I think that says something. If you're down 35-0 and you're still pretty loud. He said, man, when they got to that goal line and they start playing that train horn, he says you can't hear. This is crazy. As we mentioned earlier, the Ducks play at Beaver Stadium this year, and I'm going to be curious to see if he still answers Purdue to that question after he plays at Penn State at night in a whiteout game, because that's what Oregon has to do pretty early in this season. Can't wait. We just talked about it a minute ago, but I would like to hear from him after that one. All right, with summer recruiting winding down, the USC Trojans still have the number one recruiting class in the country for 2026. Their incoming class now has 31 commits to date. That's a lot. That's a lot for a big boy established program to be bringing in 31 new players. But that's what they've been doing. They've been getting after it. A lot of 5 stars, 4 stars, and a large number as well, with 31 recruits coming in for 2026. Michigan, on the other hand, they've gotten 15 commits just between June and July. Really a strong late push by Sharon Moore and his Michigan staff. And they're not done. Even though practice starts this week, they're starting to concentrate on other stuff. Look, they're still trying to flip people, still trying to flip another Big Ten recruit. 6'2", 180-pound, 4-star corner Danny Odom. He's committed to Nebraska. He committed to the Huskers in June. But the Wolverines, as well as Penn State and Clemson and Colorado, they're all in on this kid from Orlando. Kind of late in the game, Odom says it would take a lot for him to flip away from Nebraska. And he said that Michigan's just now starting to show him interest, but he's listening. He's listening, he said. Another 4-star recruit, 6'4", 270-pound defensive lineman Titan Davis from St. Louis. He's already committed to Michigan, committed back in June, as we told you here. He said it came down to Alabama and Michigan. And he said, look, man, both staffs were great. Loved it. It was a hard decision, but it was between those two, almost a coin flip. Said he prayed on it a lot, and his gut said, I need to go to Ann Arbor. So there he is, Titan Davis, a Wolverine. Sometimes it's always interesting to get the reasoning behind why they chose what they chose. It's not always just money. Sometimes it's gut feeling. Sometimes it's prayer. Sometimes it's just where they feel it's going to be the best place for them. And let's talk about the Washington recruiting class for just a moment. They just landed the number 1 recruit out of the state of Colorado, 4-star T.I. Emukayas, 6'3", 307 pounds. And he picked Washington over his home state of Colorado, North Carolina, that's Bill Belichick, Oklahoma, and also UCLA, another Big Ten school. And Washington's really bringing in a lot of high-quality best ofs around the country in various states. Like I said, that was the number 1 recruit out of Colorado. He joins the number 1 player in the state of Washington who's going to stay home, edge rusher Derek Coleman Brusa. He's going to join the number 2 player in the state of Oklahoma is coming to Washington in wide receiver Mason James. And the 6th best running back nationally in California, Brian Bonner. And the 22nd ranked player in the country in California is offensive tackle Cody Green, who I believe is originally from the Northwest. So a lot of nice gets there for the Washington Huskies. We have talked time and time again on this podcast that's the school I'm going to watch, not necessarily to move all the way up and win the conference, but maybe they're this year's Indiana where they just jump up there. I'm very excited to see the Washington Huskies. And we'll see how they do this year. But a lot of quality in the Big Ten. You take the 4 teams that made the playoffs last year. You add Illinois, who was just on the outside looking in as a top 25 team. You look at adding Washington climbing, USC climbing, Nebraska getting in there. Iowa's going to be Iowa. You got a lot of really good teams right there in the mix, ready to go. So anyway, love your comments on all that as well. If you are new to our podcast, we always have features at the end of our podcast. Coming up, we got Tuesday tweets. We're on Twitter at Talk Big Ten or X. Go ahead and find us there. Send us something. If it's good, we put it on. By the way, regarding our other features, Mondays, we do our top 10 Big Ten observations coming off of every weekend. Tuesdays, the Tuesday tweets. Wednesdays, we power rank stuff, whether it be teams, mascots, helmets, players, positions. Thursdays, we look ahead to the Big Ten Network and we see what they have on their schedule. We pick out Big Ten classics that you would be interested in watching. And pretty soon, we're going to be adding some live action with their double headers or triple headers of Big Ten football. That'll be exciting. And then on Fridays, we do pigskin picks, or at this time of year, we look at odds, Heisman races, odds to go undefeated, all that kind of stuff. Have some fun. We'll do that on Friday as well. Coming up next, our Tuesday tweets. Maybe you made the list. They're good ones. A lot of good ones out there. That's next here on Locked On Big Ten. Epicor. This program's brought to you by Epicor. So let me tell you about them. Every team knows that there's value in hard work. of taking pride in what you build and practicing every detail to get the best results. No one player, no matter how amazing, can do it all alone. Working together makes getting the win easier. And at Epicor, the All-Stars are the hardworking manufacturers and distributors who create and deliver all the things we need, from aerospace to electrical to medical devices. Epicor ERP solutions are created by industry experts to help make every day easier. Seeing your whole supply chain is easier. Managing logistics is easier. Responding to price changes is easier. From small businesses with big dreams to growing enterprises with global vision, we'll equip you with the right tools to move forward, think ahead, and lead the way. Because as the clock ticks down, you need to make the most of every hard working minute. Easier doesn't cut corners. Easier takes the lead. Discover your success at www.easerwithepicor.com. That's www.easerwithepicor.com. One more time, www.easerwithepicor.com. All right, it's time now for Tuesday tweets. Let's hit it. All the posts on X that we grab this week will go full screen. If you're audio only, no problem. We'll just describe in detail what we have here. And we're going to start this one off with a bunch of nuts podcasts. That's Buckeyes podcast with an important message. Got the Ohio State logo and a red background. Says, you have 5 weeks to get married, move, have baby showers, etc. After that, do not ask me to do anything unless it involves watching Buckeye football. That's right. I mean, these last few weekends are precious and few. Get your honeydews ready. Get them done, because it's sitting on the couch season watching football right around the corner. Here's another one from at Mr. Ohio, celebrating in the locker room here after their national championship. Ohio State would be a top 3 team in the SEC every single year. Yeah, you know we like to poke fun at the SEC here because it gets under their skin when you talk about how the Big Ten is better than the SEC, and this tweet did it. That's why I grabbed it. I love it. Very good. Here's another one from at Buckeye Nation. A lot of Buckeyes here at the beginning. It is a picture of a nighttime sold-out Ohio Stadium fireworks. It's a long shot, maybe from the playoff game against Tennessee. It says, still blows my mind that Fox and at Joel Klatt saw this and said, hey, let's kick off Ohio State at Texas at noon. Big noon kickoff on Fox. It's a thing. But it does seem like Ohio State gets tabbed at noon a lot and doesn't have the advantage of the excitement of being under the lights in prime time as much as they should. I think they got a legitimate beef, although I do enjoy the noon games on Fox as well. So, yeah, hit me up on a comment with that. I know a lot of you have an opinion on that. And one more from Ohio State. This is from the Buckeye Show. Decision. Which one are you picking? And it's a row of about, several rows, about a dozen rows of hats in a hat store. Look at all these different Buckeyes logos. These are all Buckeyes hats. This one, if you're audio only, would be difficult for you to see, but you can imagine red on white, white on red, gray. Got the O, got Ohio State spelled out. You got a lot of choices. Let's move on to Michigan from Ohio State. This is from Amazing Brew. This is Sherrill Moore at Big Ten Media Days in Las Vegas. And I mentioned this earlier. I think I mentioned this yesterday in our top 10 observations from Big Ten Media Days. I thought it was a great quote from Sherrill Moore, as I put it in the context of him, winning 7 games, 8 games, including the bowl game, including a win over Ohio State and Alabama, with virtually no quarterback last year. Just a mess at the quarterback situation. So he said, look, don't let a speed bump become a roadblock. I thought it was one of the greatest quotes I've ever heard. Sherrill Moore reflecting on their rocky start in 2024 and how they rallied to finish strong. And now their sights are set on bigger goals in 2025. I think it will be improved. And look, if they won 7 regular season games last year and they're going to improve on that, 8, 9, who knows, man? They could do something this year. It depends on Bryce Underwood. Here's another one from Underwood Unleashed. Speaking of Underwood, he says, this is the greatest drive in Michigan football history. This goes back to the Rose Bowl 2 seasons ago. This is the college football semifinal against Alabama, Nick Saban's last game. Alabama's defense had absolutely no answers and no shot of stopping us. Just enjoy it. It's the last drive of the game at which they scored and tied it up. Here is from one from Nebraska at Hale Varsity. Nebraska's new offensive line portal additions are looking sharp in red. They are here in the uniform working out. You got Rocco Spindler, number 50, who came in from Notre Dame, and Elijah Pritchett, number 57, who came in from Alabama. Yeah, if Dylan Raiola could get some more protection, look out. I think Nebraska steps up this year. That's what I think. Here's from at Jed Fish, Coach Jed Fish, Washington. He likes to tweet out some stuff. He says, final weekend before season 25 starts up. So grateful for this staff and for all the help he gets. And there's a picture. It looks like, I don't know, a big family picture on the lake. Soaking in. Looks like they went to a country concert. And picture, I believe that is with his wife with the sunset behind him, behind the lake there. Pretty good. Enjoying it. Practice starts this week. It's go time. It's nonstop till January. All right. And here is from at Adam Brennan. It's a picture of Kurt Signetti, and it's actually a video, a hype video of Indiana. And it says Indiana made the college football playoff and won 11 games last year. Now they want more with Fernando Mendoza at quarterback, Elijah Surratt at wide receiver, and a rebuilt offensive line. They've got the pieces to do it. And if they protect the quarterback, Indiana should be even better in 2025. Better. They win 11-1. What's better? 12-0. Look, there are those that think Mendoza has more arm talent than Curtis Rourke at quarterback. Their offensive line is pretty good. They also got Notre Dame center to come in and transfer. And I have said Elijah Sarrett, the wide receiver, I think he's the best receiver in the Big Ten, not named Jeremiah Smith. Indiana does have weapons and a manageable schedule, as we have noted. So we'll see. Maybe they'll be even better. Hey, here's one from Penn State hockey. What a year they had last year. Penn State men's hockey 1 week closer. Mentally already here. It's a picture of them celebrating on the ice after their fantastic year last year. Here is one from at Barstool, Iowa. It's Coop, and it's a retweet of at NFL, the NFL top 100 players of 2025, and the Eagles corner and former Iowa Hawkeye Cooper DeJean making his debut at number 60 from at NFL Films. Not bad. Oh, I loved watching him play at Iowa. Defense and special teams. He was great, and he is really coming along with the Eagles, and he has a Super Bowl ring already. Here's one from at Cooper Bucks. It says there's zero debate. Ohio State is wide receiver U, and it is a list of bar graph. Most NFL receiving touchdowns by college. Ohio State is first, 704. USC, 575. Get the Miami Hurricanes at 555. LSU, Florida, Tennessee. Michigan State in there in the list at 447. Michigan at 416. Yeah, Florida State 409 and Clemson rounding it out at just under 400. Yeah, nobody's arguing that. Ohio State is wide receiver U. Maybe also as a second one, I would put LSU, and they're there on that list too. They crank out a lot of good wide receivers as well. So there it is. Tuesday tweets. Let me know what you think. I thought that was pretty fun. Always good to do that. Tomorrow we'll power rank some. I'm not going to tell you what. We're going to surprise you tomorrow what we're power ranking. And we got a lot going on. Keeping an eye on college football, Big Ten football, because practice for most teams starts tomorrow. We're all over it. The season's practically here. Many ways for you to interact with me. Don't forget, tell your friends about us too. If you're a Big Ten fan, I know you know other Big Ten fans that probably don't even know we're out here yet. Interact with us at Twitter or X at Talk Big Ten. Don't forget our website, talkbig10.com with the number 10. Podcasts and merchandise there. And before you go, please hit that subscribe button down below. It's free. That way you'll never miss a single episode. Always invite you to go back and watch another Locked On Big Ten podcast. Maybe you missed yesterday's. It was good. It was good. We also have our friend Brian Smith from the Portal Show. You can check him out too. All things transfer portal, wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On family. That'll do it for us. Thank you for your time here today. And can't wait till we meet again tomorrow for Locked On Big Ten. I'm Craig Sheeman.